And I went back and read the book again, and I'd remembered Willy Wonka and the Oompa Loompas and the kind of crazy, colourful chocolate factory.
Willy Wonka first appeared in 1964, and the character has remained part of popular culture ever since. Most children saw him as the strange man who lived inside a giant chocolate factory and was surrounded by impossible inventions. However, revisiting Willy Wonka as an adult feels completely different, especially after the release of Wonka in December 2023. Suddenly, many people began seeing more than a magical chocolatier, raising an interesting question. Why does Willy Wonka feel so different as an adult, and what caused that change? Join us as we uncover the surprising reason why Willy Wonka feels completely different once you grow up. Why Willy Wonka feels completely different as an adult. Adults who watched the new Willy Wonka saw someone completely different. Instead of seeing him as just a magical chocolatier, they saw a lonely young man chasing his dream.
Ladies and gentlemen of the Gallery Gourmet, my name is Willy Wonka.
Between 2023 and 2026, that new perspective completely changed how many people understood Willy Wonka. And the reason for this will definitely leave you in shock. The biggest reason for that change was Paul King's Wonka. Before the film arrived, most people already knew Wonka as the owner of the world's most famous chocolate factory. Whether they grew up watching Gene Wilder in the 1971 film or Johnny Depp in the 2005 version, Wonka always seemed larger than life. He appeared as someone who had already built his empire before the story even began. The 2023 film took a very different path. Instead of showing a successful chocolatier, it introduced a young Willy Wonka arriving in a new city with almost nothing except a suitcase, a few coins, and a dream of opening his own chocolate shop. For many viewers, seeing where his journey started changed everything they thought they knew about him. Adults also noticed something that children often miss. Wonka's cheerful attitude did not come from having an easy life. It survived because he refused to give up. Almost as soon as he arrived in the city, things began going wrong. He was tricked into signing a dishonest contract and found himself trapped in a laundry run by Mrs. Scrubbit. Instead of making chocolate, he spent his days washing clothes to pay off a debt that seemed impossible to escape. Every time he found a way forward, another problem appeared. Children often see those moments as exciting parts of the adventure. Adults see something else. They see a young man who keeps getting knocked down but still refuses to stop, believing in his dream. That is one of the biggest reasons Wonka feels different today. The chocolate is still wonderful, but it is no longer the most important part of the story. What stands out now is the determination behind every piece of chocolate he makes. His success did not appear overnight. It came after setbacks, disappointments, and years of believing in something that nobody else could see. Adults understand how difficult that can be. Many people spend years trying to build a business or reach a goal without knowing whether it will ever work. Watching Wonka fight through those struggles makes his dream feel much more real than it ever did before. But that is not all. The new film has also made many people think of Wonka as more than a fantasy character. He now looks a lot like someone trying to build a business from the ground up. He has an idea that nobody else understands. He believes in his product even when other people laugh at him. He takes risks, solves problems, and keeps going after every failure. Those are the same qualities people often admire in successful business owners and inventors today. While his chocolate may be magical, the journey behind it feels surprisingly familiar. Many viewers now see Wonka as an entrepreneur whose biggest strength is not just making sweets, but refusing to stop creating. Another thing adults notice much more easily is the emotional side of the story. The relationship between Wonka and his mother carries much more meaning once you grow older. His promise to open a chocolate shop is not just about becoming successful. It is about keeping a promise to someone he loved deeply. Throughout the film, that memory continues to guide his choices even after she is gone. Adults understand how powerful those memories can be. They also notice the friendships he builds with Noodle and the other people around him. Those relationships are built on trust, kindness, and helping one another during difficult times. Younger viewers enjoy those moments, but adults often connect with them on a much deeper level. Even Wonka's strange personality starts to make more sense. For years, many people simply thought he was odd. He behaved differently from everyone else, trusted very few people, and protected his chocolate recipes with unusual care. Many younger viewers who had never watched the older versions discovered Willy Wonka for the first time through these videos. Others went back to watch the classic films after becoming curious about the character's past. Yet many people still do not know how Willy Wonka's story truly began, which means they are missing the bigger picture behind the character. So, what is his real past? Who created Willy Wonka? And how did he become one of the most unforgettable characters ever written? Stay tuned as we uncover the surprising history behind him. The history of Willy Wonka. Most people know Willy Wonka as the strange man who owns the world's most famous chocolate factory. They remember the purple coat, the clever inventions, the chocolate river, and the Oompa Loompas singing after every lesson Charlie and the other children learned. But the story of Willy Wonka did not begin in a movie. It started many years earlier in the mind of one British writer whose own childhood helped shape one of the most famous characters in children's books. Willy Wonka first came to life through the imagination of Roald Dahl, and more than 60 years later, he remains one of the most loved fictional characters ever created. The story began in 1964 when Roald Dahl published Charlie and the Chocolate Factory in the United Kingdom. The book was released by George Allen and Unwin and quickly caught the attention of young readers. Dahl had already written books for children, but this one was different. It mixed adventure, humor, mystery, and imagination in a way few stories had done before. At the center of it all was Willy Wonka, a chocolate maker unlike anyone readers had ever met. He was mysterious, unpredictable, and full of ideas that seemed impossible. Children wanted to visit his factory, while adults wondered how someone could imagine such an unusual world. The idea for the story actually began many years before the book was written. During the 1920s, Roald Dahl attended Repton School in Derbyshire, England. From time to time, the famous chocolate company Cadbury would send boxes of new chocolates to the school. The students were asked to taste them and share their opinions before the chocolates were released to the public. Dahl loved those moments. He dreamed about creating his own chocolate bar that might impress the people at Cadbury. Those childhood memories stayed with him for decades. When he later began writing children's books, he turned those memories into the story of Willy Wonka. Britain's chocolate industry also played a big part in shaping the book. At the time, Cadbury and another chocolate company called Roundtree were fierce rivals. Both companies wanted to create the next popular chocolate bar before the other could. They guarded their recipes carefully because they did not want competitors stealing their ideas. Watching these companies compete gave Dahl another idea. What if there was a chocolate factory filled with secret inventions that nobody else had ever seen? What if the owner protected those recipes more carefully than anyone else in the world? That simple question marked the beginning of Wonka's magical factory, something many people never knew. From the very beginning, Dahl never wanted Willy Wonka to be an ordinary hero. He also did not want him to be a villain. Instead, he created someone who could surprise readers at every turn. Wonka was a brilliant inventor who could make sweets nobody else could imagine. He was a businessman who understood how special his creations were. At the same time, he behaved in strange ways that often confused the people around him. One moment, he was cheerful and laughing. The next moment, he seemed serious and secretive. Readers could never fully guess what he would do next. And that mystery became one of the biggest reasons people loved the character. The chocolate factory soon became just as important as Wonka himself. It was not simply a building where chocolate was made. It was a place where almost anything seemed possible. There were rivers made of chocolate, trees that could be eaten, chewing gum that tasted like a full meal, and sweets that could do things nobody thought were real. Every room revealed another surprise, and for children, the factory felt like the greatest playground in the world. Even today, many people remember the factory as clearly as they remember Willy Wonka himself. However, there is more to the story. One of the most talked about parts of the story has always been the Oompa Loompas. When the book was first published in 1964, Dahl described them very differently from the way readers know them today. After the book became popular, some people criticized the original description because they believed it used harmful stereotypes. Dahl listened to those concerns. In later editions of the book, he changed their background completely. The Oompa Loompas became small people from Loompaland, a made-up place where they happily agreed to work in Wonka's factory after he rescued them from dangerous creatures. That change helped shape the version most readers know today. Another important part of the story explains why Wonka closed his factory in the first place. Before the events of the book, his factory was open, and many people worked there. But his greatest rivals wanted his secret recipes. Arthur Slugworth, Mr. Fickelgruber, and Mr. Prodnos sent spies into the factory to steal his inventions. Every time Wonka created a new sweet, copies quickly appeared in other factories. After years of losing his ideas, he decided enough was enough. He closed the factory gates, dismissed all his workers, and disappeared from public view. People believed the factory had shut down forever. Then something strange happened. One day, smoke began rising from the factory again. The machines started working, but nobody ever saw workers entering or leaving the building. The mystery lasted for years. Later, readers discovered the truth. Wonka had secretly reopened the factory with the help of the Oompa Loompas. They worked inside the factory while the gates remained locked, allowing Wonka to protect his inventions from spies. It was the perfect solution. His chocolate could once again be sold around the world without anyone stealing his ideas. The next big surprise came with the golden ticket competition. Wonka hid 5 golden tickets inside ordinary chocolate bars.
We began with 5 golden tickets, like 5 lucky bolts of lightning ready to strike without notice at any point on the map,
And announced that whoever found them would be invited to visit his factory. The search quickly became worldwide news. One by one, the winners appeared. Augustus Gloop loved eating more than anything else. Veruca Salt always expected to get whatever she wanted. Violet Beauregarde could never stop chewing gum. Mike TV cared more about television than anything around him. Finally came Charlie Bucket, a poor but kind boy who found the last ticket almost by accident. Each child represented different choices and different lessons, making the factory tour much more than an ordinary adventure. Charlie turned out to be the most important visitor of all. Unlike the others, he did not think only about himself. He respected people, appreciated what he had, and stayed honest even when things became difficult. Wonka watched him carefully throughout the journey. By the end of the story, he had made his decision. Charlie would become the future owner of the chocolate factory. It was not because Charlie was the smartest or the richest, it was because he had the kind heart that Wonka believed mattered most. That ending became one of the most memorable moments in children's literature. Roald Dahl was not ready to end the story there. In 1972, he published Charlie and the Great Glass Elevator. Instead of staying inside the factory, the adventure moved into the sky as Charlie, Wonka, and Charlie's family traveled in the Great Glass Elevator. Their journey took them into space, where they faced strange new dangers and met unusual characters. While the second book never became as famous as the first, it allowed readers to spend even more time with Willy Wonka and his extraordinary imagination. More than 60 years have passed since Charlie and the Chocolate Factory was first published, yet Willy Wonka has never disappeared. The books have been translated into many languages and continue to be printed around the world. Schools still include Roald Dahl's stories in reading programs. The character has also lived on through films, stage musicals, theater productions, and, most recently, the 2023 film Wonka, which explored his younger years before he built the famous factory. Each new version has introduced him to another generation of fans. That is why Willy Wonka remains one of the greatest fictional characters ever created. Part of that success comes from the different actors who have portrayed Willy Wonka over the years. Each gave the character a unique touch while keeping his magic alive. So, let's find out how it all happened. Actors who have portrayed Willy Wonka. Very few actors have ever had the chance to play Willy Wonka on the big screen, even though he is one of the most famous fictional characters ever created.
Those are the images parents had in mind when they took their families to the Willy Wonka experience in Scotland.
Since Roald Dahl introduced Wonka in Charlie and the Chocolate Factory in 1964, filmmakers have been careful about who gets the role. Every actor who stepped into Wonka's shoes brought something different. Some made him mysterious, others made him emotional. One even showed what he was like before he owned the famous chocolate factory. Because of that, every generation has ended up seeing a slightly different Willy Wonka, even though they all came from the same story. The first actor to bring Willy Wonka to cinemas was Gene Wilder. In 1971, he starred in Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory, directed by Mel Stewart. For many people, this is still the version they think of first whenever Wonka's name comes up. Wilder did not play Wonka as someone loud or over the top. Instead, he stayed calm almost all the time. He spoke softly, smiled at unexpected moments, and always seemed to know something everyone else did not. Viewers could never quite figure him out. One minute, he looked kind and gentle. The next minute, he seemed serious enough to make everyone in the room nervous. That mystery became one of the biggest reasons people loved his performance. One moment from the film has become one of the most famous entrances in movie history. When Wonka first walks out of the factory gates, he appears to struggle as he leans on a walking cane. Suddenly, he drops the cane, rolls forward, and lands on his feet with a smile. The audience immediately realizes they cannot trust anything they expect from him. Gene Wilder actually insisted on adding that scene himself. He later explained that he wanted people to spend the rest of the movie wondering whether Wonka was telling the truth or playing another trick. It was a simple moment, but it perfectly captured the character Roald Dahl had created. But surprisingly, it didn't end with Gene Wilder playing the role. More than 30 years later, another actor stepped into the famous purple coat. In 2005, Johnny Depp played Willy Wonka in Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, directed by Tim Burton. From the very beginning, it was clear this would not be the same Wonka people remembered from Gene Wilder's film. Depp created a character who was socially awkward, shy around people, and deeply affected by his childhood. Instead of acting like a confident businessman, his Wonka often seemed uncomfortable in conversations. He struggled with emotions and carried painful memories from growing up with his strict father, a dentist played by Christopher Lee. That new direction divided audiences almost immediately. Some people praised Johnny Depp because they felt he gave Wonka much more emotional depth. They liked seeing where some of his unusual behavior came from and believed the childhood story helped explain the man he later became. Others strongly disagreed. They felt his soft voice, unusual mannerisms, and awkward behavior moved too far away from the character Roald Dahl had originally written. Even today, fans still debate Depp's performance. Some believe it was bold and original. Others still prefer the quiet mystery Gene Wilder brought to the role. Even with those mixed opinions, the 2005 film became a huge success around the world. Made with a budget of about $150 million, it earned more than $475 million worldwide. Audiences packed cinemas across North America, Europe, Asia, and many other parts of the world. The film also introduced Willy Wonka to millions of children who had never seen the 1971 version. While opinions about Depp's performance remain divided, there is no question that the movie became one of the most successful adaptations of a Roald Dahl book. Then came another surprise. Instead of making another version of Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, filmmakers decided to tell a completely different story. In December 2023, Wonka arrived in cinemas with Timothée Chalamet, playing a much younger Willy Wonka. Directed by Paul King, the film takes place years before the famous factory existed. Instead of showing a successful chocolatier, it follows a young man trying to build his dream from almost nothing. It was the first time audiences were invited to see how Willy Wonka became the person everyone already knew. Timothée Chalamet's version focused on qualities people had never really seen before. His Wonka was hopeful, kind, and full of energy. He believed good things could happen, even when life became difficult. The film showed him arriving in the city with little money, but endless confidence in his chocolate. Along the way, he faced dishonest rivals, powerful businessmen, and many setbacks. Instead of making the story about mystery, the film focused on hard work and never giving up. It gave audiences an origin story that earlier films had never explored. That fresh approach connected with audiences around the world. Wonka became another major success, earning more than $630 million worldwide against a production budget of around $125 million. Before its release, some people questioned whether audiences wanted another Wonka film without Charlie Bucket. Those doubts quickly faded as families filled cinemas during the holiday season, introducing the character to a new generation. Fans still debate which actor came closest to Roald Dahl's original Willy Wonka. Many favor Gene Wilder for capturing the mystery, humor, and quiet confidence of the book, while Johnny Depp and Timothée Chalamet each offered their own fresh interpretation. Although their performances were different, each actor helped keep Willy Wonka's magic alive, ensuring the character remains one of the most beloved figures in fiction. Have you watched Willy Wonka recently? Did it feel different this time? Share your opinions with us in the comment section. If you enjoyed the video, like, share, and subscribe to our channel. Also, click the following video on your screen and you will enjoy it.